It's kind of amazing to me anyone buys any of this crap. They sit here and they talk about global warming, and then there's obviously the hypocrisy of flying around on jets, etc. But that's not even the true thing that shows you they're lying. The thing that shows you they're lying is the second they manage to launder enough money from the people and steal hundreds of millions of dollars, they go and buy beachfront property. All of them are sitting on beachfront houses. I thought they were scared of the...
I hate this guy.
Whoa! Before this video starts, I would like to thank my dear friend Roger, whom helped me compose this video. Roger has his own YouTube channel called Science for Everyone. So if you're really curious and passionate about science, I really highly recommend this channel. I'm gonna leave it in the bio description, so feel free to go check it out. So on that note, enjoy the show. Welcome to the Basic Science Podcast, where we freely discuss about science, research, and academia. And today, actually, I have a second opportunity to shoot this episode, because previously I shot it this way, but I prefer this angle for my segments. And in this episode, as you saw it from the title, we will discuss the wildfires that are happening here in Canada. And on a more serious tone, I would like to demystify all those type of sayings that we are currently hearing. And sometimes there's a lot of sayings that are, ambiguous, and they are trying to bring people into that anger or fear state. And I will come to those in a bit. So for those who don't know, recently there were a lot of wildfires that happened, especially on the west part of the Quebec province. And also there's some on the west side of Canada as well. But the west provincial wildfires on the forest. I'm having trouble, but I'm gonna keep this episode as raw as possible. Really greatly affected not only Canada, but we saw really amazing but sad pictures of New York, for example. And I heard that some of those fumes as well went through the east, so as far as touching some of the countries in Europe. So this is just to tell you how natural disasters could be really powerful, and sadly, as humans, it reminds us that we are fragile creators. And yes, we can have all the technology and everything, but sadly, we cannot stop those natural disasters from happening. So I'm thinking about also earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, volcano eruptions, and those wildfires. So as you saw it from the beginning clip, so I'm trying to clickbait here, so hopefully I don't get shadow banned by showing this little clip of Andrew, but it's really a powerful speech that he's presenting here. But there's something I don't like about this, because there's this ambiguity about who they are in the speech. So we're mentioning those people that they want you to believe in climate change, they want you to limit your freedom. But for me, it's really confusing. Who are they? Is it for me in that speech, it seems to be like something against the government. So politicians saying, this is a good way to limit people's freedom, if you think about it. But is it really those type of people? Is it those rich or, I don't know, entrepreneur people, the businessmen in their private jet that are traveling and somewhat they are propagating those news that climate change is real, and personally they don't believe it? It's really ambiguous. But in reality, the real they are the scientists, those who are having the facts, that are analyzing the data, that are accumulating all those results. And I mean, believe it or not, even in the scientific field, those scientists have their own agenda, sadly. So people in that field, scientists, would believe in climate change and other won't. So I have a very fun anecdote to mention, because last week I went through a road trip with my cousin, and we went through a boat to go and see some big whales. But the captain on board and the biologist were telling us it's been late and we haven't seen as many recently compared to other years. And one of the facts that I mentioned is that um, the temperature of the water has increased from 3 degrees Celsius to 6 degrees Celsius. So this is where the scientific sadly are biased, and it's become really subjective. What is really significant? For someone, it will say, "Oh, it's just 3 degrees. It's not significant." For other, you can display it as 50% increase. So it's like really drastic. I can take the example of, let's say, your favorite temperature in summer is 30 degrees, but then you double this, so it becomes 60 degrees in summers. Can it be viable for you? So those are just some thoughts to have in there. So whether you believe in climate change or not, let's continue our discussion. So wildfires. The other topic that we slowly are hearing about through social media is, oh, those wildfires are man-made. And again, the narrative here is ambiguous. Man-made, and they want to limit your freedom. They want you to lock you down. And so what does it really mean, man-made? Let's try to demystify this. So a really good example of that, if we take the scientific approach, is that probably there was negligence. There was some campers in the middle of the forest. They forgot stuff, which could, ignite wildfires eventually, like small fires that can grow to wildfires. And this is one of the man-made hypotheses that I can think of. On the other extreme, it could be, I don't know, pyromans, like with their big flamethrowers, like one person or even a group of person. But is it realistic to think that one person will go in the middle of nowhere in Western Quebec to start those big fires? I don't think so. And there's the other last possibility of man-made. Again, it's similar to the campers. Let's say they forgot some of fire, joy fire, and there was like leftovers of those that started the fire. But it could be directly pollution from man that brings those wildfires to life. And a good example of this is, I recently went to a hike and I saw this big fridge that is, of course, old and rusty. And it was in the middle of nowhere. So I was like, who managed to bring that fridge there in the middle of nowhere? And I thought it's a good example. So let's say that fridge is made of metal parts. Some those of this metal part can really get really hot, and you're surrounded by dead leaves, dead branches. So those can easily catch up on fire. And this could be another possibility that it's man-made, but it's not necessarily a voluntary movement. So this is just to uh, try to make you think what in that narrative, what is man-made? What could possibly have been done for it to be man-made? So it's not just if I take the extreme, really bad people that are saying to themselves, "Let's just start wildfires in Western Quebec." No, there's more to it, and there's actually a simple and really beautiful scientific hypothesis. in which it's a circle of life. So every living things here has an expiry date. So even trees, when they get older, they catch up on some diseases, they rot. So, the big trunks, the leaves will dry up, and this is easily catch up on fire. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because wildfires, according to the scientific dogma, allow the earth and the forest to renew itself. So the simple hypothesis is that, with combined with, let's say, natural elements, a thunderstorm or just a sunny day, and some correct conditions to ignite a fire. I don't know, like, I thought maybe the reflection of water can bring the rays of sun on a very specific spot on a dry branch or something that could also start those. So there's all those natural elements that are also to take account of. And so again, the idea here is that the earth wants to renew its forests. So it's a really good way for that. So it's sad, but it's a way, and it's really natural. However, what's not natural is the frequency and the amplitude of those. And this come back to our discussion. So because I was asking a lot of people here in Montreal that lived here all their life for, let's say, over 30, 40 years. Have you ever witnessed any smog like this in Montreal due to the wildfires? And no one said yes. So it's for everyone a first here to see that type of scenery in the air. It's really a weird experience to describe. It smells like a burned wood. It's a bit sweet, but also it smells like burning. So there's those fine particles. So the smell is like a mixture of, it's aromatic, but also it could be dangerous. So the frequency of those are alarming. And this comes back to our two other ideas of climate change or man-made. So climate change doesn't necessarily mean an increase of temperature. It could just be a natural change of something. And another good example of that is, I've recently seen in the news that the water we drink actually comes from not surface water, but really deep underground water. And because we extracted so much water from the deep ground, it's changing the way and the conformation of the earth as well. So it's really food for thoughts here. So it could be just the fact, that climate change, it could be mean that we are having more sunny days than rainy days or colder days. So in combination to probably some man-made mistakes, campers, or pollution, I don't think the pyroman hypothesis will stand that much. Um, and then the natural circle of life, that some stuff needs to die so other things need to grow at the same time. So all that combination of things can lead us to this open question of, can we do something to change that? However, like, sadly, we are not capable of, as I said in the beginning, to predict or to rapidly stop those big climate disasters. And this is just like a thought for you guys. It's really sad to see all those big areas of Canada. Canada is like a really awesome place where it's like very vast. The population is localized at very specific spots, but the rest of the Canada areas are just made of forest. It's really sad, but this is the current way we're living in, and we just need to adapt. And that's was it for me. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, to summarize it, is don't immediately believe what some narratives say. They're trying to fuel you with anger, uh, implement fear and doubt in you, thinking that the humankind is really a bad, you know, is really bad, and there's evil people trying to lock you down, you know, imprison your freedom. But there's always a rationale behind this. You know, Earth. I would say that Earth would be happy without human beings around. So if you like, let's say there's a extinction of humankind, Earth will always have life in it, with or without us. So it must go on, and we just need to respect the place we're living in and try to be as protective as it is for us, but also for future generation. On that note, take care. This was my short basic science segment for this week. I have a very awesome future episode coming up, and I'm looking forward for that one. A very awesome guest. And yeah, that's it. Take care.